Now here in America, crossovers are a hot segment. They're quickly becoming the top seller in any automaker's portfolio. So it's no surprise that Toyota is introducing another small crossover. This one slots below the company's best-selling RAV4. Let's take an in-depth look at the 2018 Toyota CHR. So if you can remember 2 years ago, Scion actually showed us a concept version of the CHR at the Los Angeles Auto Show, and it was a vehicle that the Scion brand desperately needed. As you guys have heard on and on again from journalists, that crossovers are just the hot segment here in America. Now, when Toyota killed off Scion last year, the CHR migrated to the Toyota lineup, and this is the company's new entry-level subcompact SUV. It competes with the vehicles like the Kia Soul, the Honda HR-V, the Mazda CX-3, the Chevrolet Trax, the Nissan Juke, and this segment has been growing ever so steadily. The Kia Soul is the best-selling model in the segment currently, and Toyota has some pretty ambitious plans for this CHR. Now you can see the design is certainly very bold and unique. This is a car that Toyota is taking a lot of risk and chances with the styling, and I think that, you know, it's definitely subjective. It's still kind of growing on me, and if you look at the overall front, you know, it kind of mimics the refreshed RAV4 with the headlights, with this very small grille. LED daytime running lights are standard on all trims, and while projector halogens are the only kind of headlight you can get here in the US. Now, speaking of the trims, Toyota will offer it in XLE and XLE Premium, like my tester. You can distinguish a Premium XLE from the push-button start, the fog lights, and the blind spot monitoring with rear cross-traffic alert. Now, these 18-inch wheels are standard equipment on all trim-level CHRs. I think they look great. They're wrapped in 225 rubber. They fill out the wheel wells nicely. I especially like the design. And if you look at the profile of this car, you're probably thinking it looks weird. Now, that's because CHR actually stands for something. It stands for Coupe High Rider. So Toyota wanted this car to look like a high-riding coupe, basically, which is why the rear doors look funny. They have these really strangely integrated-looking rear door handles, which takes some getting used to. I actually think that they don't fit my hand very well, but again, try this vehicle out, see if it works for you. Now, regarding the size, this is a pretty small vehicle. I believe it's about 10 inches shorter than a RAV4. If you're going to compare it to an HR-V, it's roughly about 2 inches longer than the HR-V, an inch longer in wheelbase, but it is about 2 inches lower and an inch wider to give this car a more aggressive, sporty stance. Now, the platform of this car is an all-new platform. It stands for Toyota Global Architecture Platform, TNGA. This is a new platform Toyota's developed. They're going to be implementing this platform on all their products in the next coming years, and it's a really great platform. It's stiff, it's safe, it handles really well, and we'll go into the driving dynamics later on. Now, at launch, the CHR will only offer one engine underneath the hood, a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. It's the only 2-liter that we're seeing in the States for the first time. It's paired with a Cvt transmission, front-wheel drive only. The rear styling of this car is certainly very interesting. It adopts the floating roof design that I believe Nissan introduced a couple of years ago. And the taillights have their own unique C-shaped design. Some of you have compared it to the look of the Civic hatchback, which honestly I can see why. I would never confuse this car for a Civic hatchback. It definitely rides up higher, but it certainly looks unique. I would like to see Toyota, you know, make this car available with, you know, different powertrain options, all-wheel drive available, a manual transmission, for example. But, you know, the company's currently testing the waters. It's a car that, you know, if you guys keep asking Toyota to add this, they're certainly going to look into it. If you look at this car overseas, they offer it as a hybrid, they offer it with all-wheel drive, they offer it with a manual transmission, they offer it with turbocharged power. So it wouldn't be hard for Toyota to add those features here for the US market. But enough about the exterior. Let's take a look at the inside and see how, you know, uniquely styled it is versus the exterior as well. Now, only the XLE Premium trim will come standard with Toyota's smart key access system with push-button start. If you guys go for the XLE, it'll just have remote keyless entry where you have to actually stick the key in the ignition. But here's the key fob for the vehicle. It's a newer key fob. Just keep it in your pocket or in your purse. To lock the door, touch this button right here. That locks the door for you. It also electrically folds in the mirror, so that's nice. That's part of the XLE Premium. To unlock it, just touch your hand on the back of the door handle. It has a sensor, and that will unlock the door for you. Now, looking at the interior of the CHR. Now, I remember seeing this car in LA last year when they first showed the production model, and I thought the interior was really nice looking at a glance, and I'm still thinking that's the case. One thing I don't really like about it is the fact that it only offers black for the interior. I kind of wish Toyota offered a different color combination, and that all has to do with the monospec trim of this car with the Scion mold, as opposed, they're trying to keep it simple with the overall theme here. Now, stepping inside, it definitely doesn't have that high SUV step-in height. It feels like it's a little higher, but honestly, some competitors give you more of that SUV step-in height. Now, shutting the door sounds a little tinny. It could be a little bit more solid sounding, but again, this is a pretty inexpensive car. Now, to start the vehicle up with the push-button start, just put your foot on the brake, push this button here to start the engine. And what you guys are hearing is a new engine for the US market. It's a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder with Valvematic. It's part of the engine family in the Corolla. A little bit bigger engine, of course. The Corolla has a 1.8, but we'll go into the driving dynamics later. Now, looking at the interior, you can see here, I like the design of it. I like the piano black plastic trim. It's got some nice soft touch materials, some stitching here on the upper part of the dash, where it is soft touch. The door panels here are also soft touch as well, with a really nice graining. I like the satin trim that they use on the door handle and the shifter. It's a nice little good touch point. Down here, it's all padded leatherette, it feels like. And the windows are one-touch automatic for all 4, so that's a really nice premium feature. Another thing you're going to notice in here is kind of like a diamond theme. Look on the door panel here, there's these like diamonds in the finish right here. There's like a diamond shape here for the buttons. There's like a diamond shape up here on the buttons here, and in the roof you can see there's like a little bit of a diamond shape. So it's just very interesting. It's a unique design touch that Toyota's going with the uniqueness with the outside. Now, the steering wheel is also really nice. I really like the leather wrapped function. It feels really high quality. It's electric power steering assist. I like the piano black. It's got some nice buttons here, and then of course you can see here it's got your controls here for your cruise control, your lane keep assist, your forward collision alert, all that safety features that you want. Now, looking at the center stack here, I appreciate its simplicity. You have nice buttons right here, well labeled, dual zone automatic climate control. You get heated cloth seats, but leather unfortunately is not available. And then when you put the vehicle into reverse, Toyota gives you a backup camera as standard. It is in the rearview mirror. I don't know why Toyota didn't just want to put it in there. It probably goes back to the fact that this is a dated Scion head unit, but it's a nice, decent backup camera. It has no trajectory, and it has the distance markers, but that's it. It's not entirely that fancy. The head unit in here, I'm gonna try to be as nice as I can to it. It literally is the old Scion head unit that I don't particularly like. I think it looks nicely integrated into the dash. It doesn't have that annoying aftermarket look, but the overall features that it have are just very, very lacking, especially if Toyota wants to appeal to younger buyers. I mean, you have AM, FM, you have your Bluetooth streaming audio, an aux port, USB, but there's no physical home button here, which I think is annoying. The interface itself, is relatively easy to use. The touch response works okay, but they have better systems, in their Toyota products, and I just don't understand why. I especially hate here, the buttons here are very small. This is to tune the radio stations, which honestly a knob would have been better. Honestly, I see Toyota just replacing this thing entirely and just literally putting a tablet style screen here with, a touch screen. I would like to see them add Android Auto and CarPlay. Navigation isn't even available on this car, which I think is a mistake. A lot of competitors offer it. And I really see Toyota eventually changing this in, very soon, especially if customers keep complaining about it. Now, looking at the rest of the center stack here, there's decent storage. One thing that annoys me is there's only one USB port in this entire car. This is supposed to be marketed toward younger buyers. I would like to at least have seen 3 USB ports in here, 2 for the front, 1 in the back. There's some cup holders right here, which have decent storage. This cup holder here is actually adjustable. You can make it go a little bit deeper by taking this little plastic piece out, which is a little cumbersome to take in and out. Electronic parking brake is included on this particular model. It has a brake hold function. All CHRs will have a Cvt transmission. It's a little bit different than the one in the Corolla. It has a manual mode here. No paddles on the wheel, but it does give you a sport mode. If you push this button right here, you can adjust it between sport, normal, and eco. I'll show you the differences when we go out into the test drive later. It's a decent transmission. You can see here, no sunroof, of course. as I mentioned earlier, it's a really dark interior, so I would have again liked to see Toyota, offer a different interior combination here. The seats, although are nice, I think they're very comfortable. They are height adjustable, but you don't get like a power adjustment like you get on some competitors. It has a 6-speaker, just Toyota branded audio system, which is okay. And then down here, there is a glove box, which is a little hard to find the button. You actually have to just push this right here, and that opens up the glove box. It's a decent size, not lined with felt, but it is damped. Overall, I think the interior is pleasant enough, but obviously, as I complained earlier, Toyota needs to update the head unit. That's what will make this interior, up to the modern standards, especially for younger drivers. Now, accessing the rear seats is definitely interesting with this door handle. You can see my hand kind of barely fits in here, but again, it's an interesting design element going with that coupe high rider theme. And you can see here, looking at the rear seat of the CHR, this is where that coupe high rider theme comes into play. It's a pretty small back seat. You do have to duck your head a little bit because of that sloping roof, but getting back here, as I said, I'm 5'7". I have to watch my head. But when you do get back here and shut the door, it gives you the impression that you're sitting in a 2-door, because with this like styling element here, it's a little bit dark. The window, is kind of pushed forward. So those of you who get car sick may not like this. It's just an interesting feeling to sit in the back of this car for sure. Now, surprisingly, legroom is okay. It has plenty of foot space underneath there. I appreciate the fact that this floor is nearly flat. No vents, of course, back here. And the materials are also hard touch plastic, not like the front, but you do have that satin finish here on the door handle, which is nice. There is no armrest right here, which is a little disappointing. The seats themselves, the cloth feels good. There's decent, thigh support here from my legs, and they do fold down 60/40 to give you that extra level of versatility. Now, Toyota does not offer a power tailgate on this car. Most competitors actually don't, but you can see here, looking at the cargo area, the CHR is not bad when the rear seats are up. You're looking at around 18 cubic feet of space, which is more than the CX-3, which is like 12.5, which is really paltry. Now, you can fold down the rear seats, and it'll give you about 36 cubic feet of space, which is honestly, I think, the smallest in this segment, going by the numbers. The HRV, for example, has like 58. The Soul has 61. The CX-3 has like 44. So again, you're paying for that styling here with a reduced cargo area. The floor is also a little bit on the higher side, again going with that coupe high rider theme. Luckily, when you look underneath here, you do get a temporary spare tire, so at least you're not dealing with a fix-a-flat kit. Under the hood of the CHR, you're looking at an engine that may be familiar. It's the company's 2-liter 4-cylinder engine without direct injection, just port injected. Now, it is the first 2-liter we're seeing here in the States. It's actually part of the engine family from the Corolla. It's part of the AR engine family. And in this application, it makes 144 horsepower and 139 pound-feet of torque. Now, of course, that's not really impressive numbers. Everything in this class, honestly, is really slow, mostly underpowered, but it moves out the vehicle nice enough. Now, front-wheel drive is only available right now in the States. They could bring all-wheel drive, but it really depends on the consumer request. Now, this vehicle weighs around 3,300 pounds. It's a little on the heavy side, honestly, for front-wheel drive. Now, fuel economy is rated at 27 in the city, 31 on the highway. On regular grade gas, of course. Let's get out on the road and see how it all works, shall we? Now, as you guys expected, a car with a 2-liter 4-cylinder and a CVT is not very fast. I mean, there's no test data on this car, but it feels like a 10.5-second car to 60. It's slow, but then again, everything in this segment is slow. The Fiat 500X is slow. The Jeep Renegade is slow. The HRV is slow. I mean, you're not going to buy this class of car to go drag racing. Well, unless if you get the Kia Soul Turbo, that actually is not bad. The Juke is not bad, but the Juke's hideously ugly. But where the CHR really excels is in the handling. Now, I was talking to the chief engineer for this car who flew in from Japan, and he actually said he spent a lot of time with this car out in the Nürburgring, which, I love the fact that he did. It makes this platform incredibly stable. It handles corners surprisingly well. I mean, just check this out. I'm chucking this car into a corner here, and it takes it really well. The suspension stays nice and flat. The steering, it's electric power steering, which is nice. It gives you decent feedback. It's a little too light for me. I have it in its sport setting right now. I wish it was a little bit heavier, but it's not bad. It's certainly going to inspire the confidence. This car literally feels more like a hot hatch. It doesn't drive like an SUV at all, or at least not really a hot hatch. It doesn't have the motor for it. But, you know, it's a pleasant driving car that a lot of you enthusiasts are going to be surprised about, especially if, you bought this car for your significant other that doesn't really care for, a sporty car, but they just wanted something that's different. Another thing that really surprised me is the ride quality of this car. It has a fully independent rear suspension, which is definitely unique in this segment. I believe nothing else has an independent rear. I'll have to double check that. Everything else usually uses a torsion beam. So again, this makes the car, much more stable. It corners better. It rides great. The road noise is a little high from what I'm hearing, but again, nothing in this class is really all that quiet, so I can't really complain too much. But overall, you're going to be relatively impressed with the driving dynamics of this car. Come on, baby. That's right. You gotta be a little more patient. Now, the CVT does mimic shifts, so it gives you those fake gears, and it's a decent CVT. I mean, enthusiasts, we don't like CVTs, but it's responsive enough, especially if you put it in your sport setting and just kind of put your foot down. It quickly brings the revs up, puts it in the meat of its power band, and it's an okay engine, a little buzzy. It's the typical, Toyota 4-cylinder. It doesn't really have any groundbreaking technology. No direct injection, no start-stop, no turbo. I mean, going up this hill here, I literally have to floor the accelerator and listen to that noise. It's a little annoying, but again, everything in this class is slow. This is a little bit better than the HRV. I really hate the HRV's powertrain. Honda can't, put the turbo engine in that car soon enough. Hopefully they will be doing that soon. But, driving this car normally, the visibility here is not as bad as I thought it would be. The front view is great. You have this big side mirror here, a nice view of the road. The hood's nice and low. Out of the back is definitely a different story. There's pretty big blind spots, so I would recommend the premium model to get the blind spot monitoring or cross traffic alert. But it's just an overall pleasant driving car if you can get over the fact that you have a 2-liter 4-cylinder with a CVT. Thankfully, with such little power, there's not really any traction issues. This car won't peel out its front tires if you put your foot down. It's just generally pretty slow, when you're going down the road. One thing I kind of wish this car had was paddle shifters. It would have been nice to have most of the vehicles in this class don't either. The Soul Turbo that I drove also doesn't have the paddle shifters, but the transmission luckily is responsive enough. It does give you a little manual mode here with 7 virtual shift points, which again, in a CVT, I don't really understand why. You see here I have it in second gear now, and I floor it, and it does a little fake shift. It works a little bit better than some of the other fake CVT shift points that I've tried in other vehicles. But again, just going around this corner here, check this out. I am impressed with how well this car takes corners. The body stays really flat. This chassis could easily handle another 100 horsepower. I would love to see a turbo model with a manual, all-wheel drive. Toyota could out all that. It really depends on if you guys want it as the consumer. Now, let's talk about a few numbers here. Toyota is targeting 30,000 sales when this car goes on sale next month for the first year. The next year, they're going to target around 60,000 sales. This segment in general is just really growing. The Kia Soul is the top seller. That sells about 150,000 units annually, followed by, I believe, the Jeep Renegade, which is like just under 100,000 units. So, I mean, Toyota's sales numbers aren't, terribly ambitious. I think they'll be able to hit that. I think they'll be able to surpass that when they start offering different variants of this car. And they update the horrible infotainment system that's remnants of cheapo Scion. It just needs to go, basically. Now, regarding the price, this car starts for the XLE model at around $22,500. Now, that sounds like a great price. However, when you look at some of the competitors, the HRV is roughly $2,000 less. A Kia Soul starts at like $16,900. So this car does look expensive on paper. However, Toyota does give you more standard equipment. You get those, LED daytime running lights. You get those attractive 18-inch wheels. You get the Toyota Safety Sense Plus as standard. I mean, you can't even get those features on some of the competitors. I believe only the Mazda is the only one to offer adaptive cruise, which doesn't have full speed range like this car. So again, lots of safety features that Toyota is including to give it that edge over a lot of its competitors. Now, my tester, being the XLE Premium, is a little bit more. It rolls in the fog lights. It rolls in the blind spot monitoring with the cross traffic alert. It rolls in the heated seats, the push button start. This one is around $24,500. Again, not bad. A fully loaded CX-3 can easily top like $27,000, but keep in mind this car is missing leather, it's missing nav, it's missing a sunroof, it's missing LED headlights. If Toyota wanted to add those features, it's going to drive the price up. And the fact that this car is only front-wheel drive, usually all-wheel drive tacks on like another $1,000 to $1,500. So you know, it really is going to depend on, you know, if you guys want those features. Right now, Toyota has definitely priced this car relatively right in line with its competitors. Just keep in mind, it is a little bit higher to start because it has more standard equipment, as you know, even the base model includes that. Now, coming to my conclusion of this review, would I recommend the CHR if you guys are in the market for this car? Now, one thing that I will say is it has the best ride and handling out of any car in this segment that I've driven, especially the ride quality. The sole is just super, super stiff and rough at times with the 18-inch wheels. The HR-V feels roughly the same, however, with the torsion being rear, it definitely doesn't soak up the bumps as well as this car. The CX-3, you know, matches this car in terms of fun to drive handling, so you know you wouldn't expect Toyota to be fun to drive, but it definitely is with the CHR, so it's a really pleasant surprise. I would recommend this car if you are looking for simplicity in, you know, how you buy a car. You literally just pick the trim you want and pick the color. There's no other options to choose from, and then there's some dealer accessories. If you like the styling, it's definitely worth a look, and if you're just a fan of Toyota, I think it's really worth a look. I think this car certainly will have its own appeal in the marketplace. So if you guys are in the market for a subcompact SUV like this, make sure you put the CHR on your list, especially if you don't need to have that all-wheel drive traction like some of its competitors. But if you guys are also looking to see those cars I'm testing, make sure you follow me on Instagram at Redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always guys, keep subscribed to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.